Now. All right. Well, welcome everybody. This is the Lacey Historical Commission for Wednesday, March 16th. The time is 6 p.m. We have a quorum, so let's go ahead and get started. We will begin with additions or deletions to the agenda. Does anyone have any?
I have two. One is that we need to talk about meeting virtually and hybrid again. And another is I wanted to know if you guys wanted to have a post-work session debrief. We usually do. I wasn't there, so I'd enjoy hearing your perspective.
Yeah, I was only there for my bit and then I had to drop off, so I'd like to hear what others thought of it too.
And then I sent a comment to Aaron and Sarah and Jen regarding the survey being attached to the public record, which cultural resources surveys are not supposed to be. They're not disclosable. So that was my comment related to the agenda. That's not really an agenda item. It's more an attachment item.
Can you clarify, Sarah? I'm not sure what you're talking about.
So when I realized I lost my agenda, I went to the web page, the city web page for the commission, and the agenda and packet was attached to the public page, and the entire cultural resources survey report is attached to that for public viewing.
Got it. And that shouldn't be, yes?
No, that should not be.
Okay. I don't think we need to do anything. I think Sarah Smith will probably just be able to pull that off the website. Yep. All right. So Aaron has proposed adding 2 items to the agenda. We'll add, if you don't have any problems with this, one under old business. That'll be the look back at the work session, and then one under new business.
I would consider them both new business because we didn't have post-work session debrief on the previous agenda.
All right, we'll make them E and F.
Okay.
Any other additions or deletions to the agenda? Hearing none, we'll need a motion to adopt as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Having been moved and seconded, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The agenda is adopted as amended. Moving on to item number 3, minutes. Are there any corrections to the January 19, 2022 minutes? Hearing none, we'll need a motion to adopt those as well.
So move.
Second.
Having been moved and seconded, is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Minutes are adopted. Moving on to item 4, announcements.
Have any today?
No announcements today. All right, moving on to item
Other than
5.
that Jen is not with us tonight. She is on vacation.
Well, that's nice for her. Moving on to item 5, correspondence. Any correspondence? No correspondence. Moving on to item number 6, calendar of events, beginning with item 6A, April History Talks.
Yeah, I just wanted to invite everybody to attend our April History Talk on April 13th. That's a Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. I will be giving a presentation on Gwynwood, the resort, and sharing some great stories about its namesake, Gwyn Hicks. I think it's a pretty interesting story that I've been researching, so I'd love for you guys to be there.
Your write-up in the e-newsletter was certainly enticing. I don't know if you wrote that, but it was made me want to come to the show.
Excellent. I did write it, as a matter of fact.
Well done.
Thank you.
Okay. Seeing nothing else under item number 6, we'll move on to item number 7, old business, beginning with 7A, new museum project.
Well, I'm sure if anyone has driven by recently, they have noticed that things are afoot. The building is coming down. It was a little delayed because we did find some artifacts on the site. mostly some bottles, probably about 1930s. I haven't had a chance to get my hands on them yet. So we did have to halt work temporarily while the situation was evaluated. Cardno came on site and checked it out, but we were able to resume work. And
What
media
was identified?
I'm sorry?
Was something identified?
What do you mean by something?
Oh, well, when Cardno came and checked it out, was there like artifacts or?
Yeah, I just said that we found bottles in the
Oh,
site that dated from about 1930s.
Sorry, the audio cut out. I just got the part where it said Cardno came on site.
Gotcha.
Sorry.
Yeah, we did find some artifacts.
Okay.
And went through our inadvertent discovery plan and did all the appropriate things. So a media release went out on Monday about the project, and we're keeping the public updated through our various outlets, including our newsletter, the city's newsletter, Lacey Life, Facebook, and all of that, etc. A piece of good news, the city will likely be receiving a no further action determination at the site due to the cleanup action that we've taken so far. We received a no further action likely notice on March 2nd from Archaeology. So it's pretty likely that we will get the no further action. That's all I have to report on that.
Any discussion about new museum project? Other than it's nice to see progress.
Right.
Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to item number 8, new business. Boy, we might be out for record time. I don't want to jinx it, but we'll begin with item.
You just ruined it.
I know I did. We'll begin with item 8A, recent acquisitions.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right, so I've been reviewing older acquisitions to make sure all of the paperwork's in order and all that. That's why there have been some older ones recently. But anyway, there's a few things here. One is a transfer from the city clerk's office and public affairs office, including the entire run of the Lacey Leader on microfilm, some stuff related to the 40th and 50th anniversary, and some commemorative items related to the city of Lacey, as well as electronic media related to city events and documents and programs from city events. And then I have a couple of donations here from Ken Balsley. One of them is a continuation of a collection that he already gave. It's like he forgot to include some things, but so there's just stuff on local events and organizations and things like that. And then the second one there of his is photos and negatives of local people and places. And then the last one is a book from Carol Holt that was used at South Bay School, and a photograph from South Bay School, which if you didn't know, was the South Bay School was its own district, and it combined with the Lacey School District to create North Thurston School District in 1953. So it is part of our area. That is all.
Hey, I'm just curious, what does it take to have a collection named after you?
Oh, it doesn't take anything except to give stuff. So it depends on what you give, but like Ken Balsley's collection is all related to him and stuff he did. So it's the Ken Balsley collection. It's usually related to the original creator of the collection. Sometimes we get collections like that that are related to itself, or we get things that are just sort of random, like it's usually applied to archival collections, but not always. I don't know if that helps.
It does. I was just curious because I didn't know if there was a certain threshold certain number of items you have to donate before you get the collection named after you, or a certain quality of item or something like that?
No, it's really just if it's appropriate for the collection. And it's not something that I've done very often at previous museums, but it was done heavily here, so I have continued that.
That's probably a little PR at work as well.
Probably.
Okay, well, we'll need a motion to adopt these acquisitions.
So moved.
Second.
Having been moved and seconded, is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Items are adopted. Yeah. I never know what to say there. It's acquired. Items are acquired. Items that are,
We already acquired them.
yeah,
You're approving their,
their acquisition.
yes.
I'm approving their acquisition. All right. All right, move on to item 8B, Lacey History Month.
So Lacey History Month is in May, and we've opened up nominations for the Lacey Historian of the Year. We included the nomination form in the packet, and it's on the website as well. If you want to nominate someone, the forms are due by March 31, and we'll consider the nominations at the April meeting, and then the award would be made at a May City Council meeting. I believe we have that scheduled for, do you know the date off the top of your head, Sarah? I can look it up. I feel like it's the 5th. Yeah, it's the 5th, May 5th. So you should also put that on your calendars because it's always good to have a showing for History Month of the commission. And usually the chair presents the award.
May 5th is wide open for me, so I'll be there. Okay, very good. Please encourage everyone you know to submit names for the Historian of the Year. There are many times when we don't have enough, so it'd be great to see a good showing. Let's move on to item 8C, Lacey Depot grand opening.
So for the Lacey Depot grand opening, we wanted to find out more about what the commission is going to like to see at the Lacey Depot and the train playground grand opening event. I'm coordinating the event in conjunction with the Lacey Rotary. So since we already did a virtual dedication, we thought that it was going to be best to do an in-person grand opening / ribbon cutting. We'd like to invite any members of the Lacey City Council, Lacey Historical Commission, and Lacey Park Board who want to attend, in addition to the Lacey Rotary members. So we had a couple of ideas. We're thinking about a weeknight celebration in May. Right now we have May 25th at 5:30 as our tentative scheduled date. If the demolition project is going as scheduled, the food truck plaza should be up and running by May. So we can advertise for people to bring money and visit the food trucks for a late night food truck thing. We can hold the tables inside the Lacey Depot for Lacey Rotary, City Council, and Historical Commissioners. We can use either the stage if it's done being constructed by then, or the depot platform as a stage facing south. We can use event sound system and microphone for a brief program. We can do the ribbon cutting of the depot, like do the classic stretch a ribbon across the barn doors and have someone clip it with some scissors. And then we can walk over to the playground for the ribbon cutting over there, which is going to be pretty much run by the Lacey Rotary. So if you guys want to talk more about that or have other ideas or anything, that's what we were thinking. We'd love to share your thoughts.
Ideas? Feel free to speak up.
If you want to think, I'm always available by email too. You all know where to find me.
Yeah, I couldn't hear most of that, so.
Kind of
Sorry.
was cutting in and out.
Oh, shoot. Okay. Let me take a look. All right. So I can email over. All right. So is that better?
No.
It's weird that it's cutting out so much.
It sounds kind of echoey, like you're in a chamber somewhere.
Sarah's been having this trouble for a couple weeks. We've been trying to figure out what's going on.
It's not consistent either, which is annoying.
Oh.
Is that a little bit better?
No, not really.
Maybe if you called in to the call-in number instead
Oh,
of
that's a good
using
idea.
your computer audio.
Maybe.
While she's doing that, I'm going to step away for just a minute.
You're supposed to recess if you're going to step away, Chair.
I'll let the vice chair handle things while I'm out for 5 seconds.
Sounds good. Yeah, I had to get an external, this like little headset external mic because my computer would do that same thing. And since I've gotten this, it seems to have solved the problem.
That might be the route I have to go.
Yeah.
Very odd. And this is no better.
Not really. You were great earlier, like when the meeting first started.
That's so bizarre.
Anyway,
I
so I
think
think what I heard was you're looking to have a in-person ribbon cutting,
mhm.
and what you're
There would
looking
be-
for
Sorry, go ahead.
feedback from us is the how it's set up, basically.
Also, the tentative date is May 25th at 5:30, and we'd like to know if that works for people.
Day of the week is that?
Friday.
Right?
Nope, I'm sorry. I'm looking at March. May 25 is a Wednesday.
Wednesday. Okay.
Yeah, I'm good for that too.
That works.
May. I will be out of town. I have a conference that I don't know if I'm going in person. Tentatively.
And then I heard you were looking at doing a ribbon cutting, possibly both at the depot and then at the playground.
And there was something mentioned about possibility of a stage on the south side of the building and having food trucks in the parking lot. I think I heard all that.
Yes. Can you hear me? There we
Oh,
go.
you're so much
Okay.
better now.
That's better.
Yes.
Something with my laptop, and it doesn't make a difference where I am. It's very strange. So to kind of reiterate, we're doing a grand opening for both the Lacey Depot and the train playground. So I'm in charge of coordinating the event. I'm working with Lacey Rotary in order to make that happen. And we're thinking about doing a weeknight celebration in May. Our current hold is on May 25th at 5:30 p.m. So if the demolition project is going as scheduled, the food truck plaza should be up and running by May. So we're thinking we could do like a night food truck plaza as part of the grand opening event. And we were talking about holding some tables inside the depot itself for Lacey Rotary, City Council, and Historical Commissioners. And we can either use the stage if it's set up already, so we should have a stage constructed by then, or the depot platform that's as a south-facing stage. And we can use the event sound system and a microphone. We were thinking about doing a brief program. And we wanted to do like a ribbon cutting of the depot, the classic like ribbon over the barn doors, snipping with scissors. I don't know if we can find comically giant scissors by then, but we'll see. And then we wanted to walk over to the playground for a ribbon cutting over there. And that's going to be taken care of by the Lacey Rotary. So that's kind of what we were thinking so far. And if you guys have any additional ideas or anything, we of course absolutely want to hear them.
That sounds good to me.
Mm-hmm.
Does.
I bet the city already has those big scissors. If they
I
don't,
was
they
just gonna
should.
say, I know somebody has them. Try public
Ken Balsley
affairs.
probably has them.
Public
Oh,
Affairs has got to have them. All right, I'm going to jot that down. The big scissors are non-negotiable. And then if you all want some time to think about other ideas or anything comes up, of course, you guys always have my email too. So if you think of anything down the line before we get closer to that date and you want to let me know, please feel free to shoot me an email anytime.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right. Any more discussion on the Lacey Depot grand opening? Move on to item 8D, the food truck plaza update.
Okay, just a second while I share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Excellent. Okay, so the city capital projects manager, Ashley, she is helping community and economic development and our department make some upgrades to the food truck plaza. They will be adding a 12 by 12 stage, some covered outdoor seating. So there will be inside or outside seating available, and a kiosk with info about the new museum and the cultural center project. The budget and the timeline are being worked on now, but the intent is that once the demolition project is done, which should be about, it should be July, but September probably at the latest, to get these interim items installed. Well, I take that back. That's when the whole thing will be done. The demolition will be done before then. This should be at the same time as the project is finishing up. Once the demolition project is done, then we would get those interim items installed at the site for use as much as possible so that people can enjoy foods, entertainment, pop-up markets, and playing on the playground to build on what we started last summer. And so that people can start getting more information and get more involved with the museum project as well. So let me make this a little bigger. Why won't you move where I want you to? Okay. Anyway, so this is the depot, and they're planning on these sort of big swoopy sail covering things over the seating areas. And then this is where the food truck paths would go. And then there is the kiosk right here. So it'd be like a covered kiosk that would have, you know, a nice panel on it with, I don't know if you've been to the roundabout where the bike, I'm going to say this all wrong. Sarah, what do you call that place? It's the bike roundabout where all the trails meet on Pacific.
Oh, yeah.
Behind the donut place. Anyway, there's a kiosk there that tells about that project. So it's kind of like that, but not as fancy because that's a permanent. This would just be temporary. So we don't want to spend that kind of cash. But I just wanted to show you kind of what that would look like a little bit with what knowledge I have, which is limited, to be honest. So that is that. Any questions?
I have a question.
Answer. Yeah.
The food truck pads look like they are horizontally aligned, and I'm just wondering, both as a consumer on site walking around and as a driver who's passing by on either side, it might be more visible to see what food options are there if those pads were north-south rectangular instead of east-west rectangular. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it might be hard to get those trucks in and out on a parallel basis.
Yeah, I'm sure they had a reason for choosing it that way, but I can certainly ask the question.
They could space them out a little bit more, but
you know what? Those things are covered in advertisements anyway. I'm sure everybody will be able to see from whatever side they're looking at them.
Maybe a designated spot closer to the street for like what do they call it? For signage, like those feather signs that a lot of folks have.
Yeah.
Feather sign? I don't know what that means.
The ones that go up and then over, and there's like a felt, like a panel, a fabric panel.
Oh, okay.
Tall skinny
Incident-
signs with a pole only on one
Yep.
side in the top.
Yes. I know what you
Incidentally,
mean.
those swoopy things are usually called tinsel structures or tinsel canopies.
I knew they had a name, but I didn't know what they were.
Tinsel, that's good. Okay. And what are those tensile structures supposed to go in?
I think the target is May.
Good. Before it
um,
gets too sunny and hot. We
Yeah,
need the shade, so that's good.
but
Awesome.
I don't know specific, they don't know the specific timeline, but they do want it for this summer.
Cool. Any commentary, questions, concerns? All right, we'll move on to item number 8E, which,
Brief.
yeah, we'll call the brief from last month's work session. Yeah, who wants to do it? Because I wasn't there for, and Aaron wasn't there. I was only there to give my spot, so my speech.
Oh, good question.
It was nice.
Okay, let the record show it. It was nice.
Yeah. The city council was very complimentary. The mayor gave a long explanation of how the support group, why the support group was taking the form that it was taking, and why they were going the way they were taking, the process they were taking. And
When you say support group, is that the nonprofit that?
yeah, the
we're talking
nonprofit.
about?
Mhm.
All right. Well, thanks for that. I want to say no. I mean, I do appreciate the briefing.
Thanks for noting.
I do. No.
Jan gave a good report about the depot and where we were in the depot.
Yeah. And I wanted to just pass along our compliments again to Jen and Aaron for the pre-work that they did leading up to that. I'm sure Sarah Smith probably had something to do with that, so I appreciate that as well. And this commission, I think, is really indebted to those of you on staff because, I mean, you guys put it all together, and then we just show up and do the presenting part. So we really appreciate all of the hard work you guys put in.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Okay, any more questions about the work session? Comments? All right. I've already forgotten what item 8F was supposed to be.
It's to address virtual versus hybrid
Oh,
meetings again.
right.
Now that the city council is going back in person to have hybrid meetings, the city clerk wants to know your plan for April and beyond because they need to make sure that they get the appropriate word out. Jen wanted me to share that she would prefer that you choose the hybrid model. It doesn't mean that you have to attend in person. Jen and probably Sarah will be there in person for sure each time. And then you guys can meet in person if you want, or by remote attendance. That would be your choice. Jen is at the office either way, so it doesn't really affect her, she said. Her main reason for this is that it gives the public more options to attend the meeting. But it is your choice. You can do what you like.
So what's the city's current position on meetings?
We can meet in person. We can meet hybrid. We can meet virtually. The city council is moving to hybrid. The park commission is moving to hybrid. I'm not sure what the other
Mhm.
commissions are doing. Do you have anything further to add to that, Sarah? Smith?
No, I don't think I do. It looks, most of them are going hybrid. I think a lot of them plan to stay virtual from what I can see. But most of them are opting for the hybrid just to give people the choice, especially as the public kind of reintroduces itself back to public life. So, but it really is up to you guys. There is no right or wrong answer.
And what's the current city policy regarding masking? I know that for at least our agency, state government, if we're meeting with other state employees, there's not a masking requirement, but if we're meeting with other colleague or other people whose vaccination status is unknown, then masking is required.
It's
So-
optional at the city of Lacey.
Okay,
It's
so it's
personal
all
choice.
optional.
Yes.
So, yeah, I guess I'd prefer a hybrid approach. I'm not at a point where I would feel comfortable attending in person if it's optional masking. So,
Well, I'll make a
So,
motion
can-
that we go ahead and move to a hybrid.
Okay. All right.
Just because we're supposed to have discussion afterwards.
before we move, yeah, sorry.
So I'd like to move that we move to a hybrid model, the way that the city is, so people can attend in person if they'd like, or they can attend remotely if they'd like.
I'd second it.
Okay, now we can discuss.
Got it.
Okay, so I have a question before that. Are those the only two options? Or could we remain remote and provide the public a hybrid option upon request? Because let's face it, Lanny is the only person, that shows up on a regular basis, or Lanny's designee. I can see perhaps maybe an applicant or somebody has some poster they want to bring and show us, and that they might want to request, an in-person meeting, but like basically everybody else is attending remotely anyway. So I don't see a whole lot of, it seems like a whole lot of work on the city's part for something that is never going to be used, even though Jen is already there. We have to set it up and have, extra people there, and it, so I just want to know if that's an option to consider.
Yeah. Unless there's other commissioners that are interested in being there in person. I know everyone has a different level of comfortability. So there may be people in the group who want to be there in person.
I'd like to be there in person. I stare at these same walls for 9 to 10 hours a day. I'm sick of it. I'd like to get out of the house.
Yeah, I don't have a strong feeling either way, subject to whatever is happening as far as future outbreaks and whatnot.
I don't know, logistically, we'd have to give like a certain timeline that people would have to request in person. It would be just one more thing to have to track. We could certainly ask, but we would definitely need a decision for April, at least tonight.
It sounds
Well,
to me like, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, well, I'm with Sarah, no offense to all you lovely people, but keep your germs to yourself, So, as long as there is a remote option, I guess that's kind of my bare minimum.
I'm sorry, what did you just say? I was talking to my child and the dog.
That's okay. I said, as long as there is a remote option, that's kind of my bare minimum, I would say at this point, especially with yet a new variant headed this direction.
I was going to mention that our meeting last month or the month before, we had a similar discussion where I got the sense that the city wanted us as the historical commission to follow its whatever decision it makes. If the city's decided to, and we opted not to do that. We opted to just do what we felt was best and not, handcuff ourselves to the city. That doesn't mean we don't have to do what the city would like. And it sounds to me like the city's moving to this hybrid model, both for the city council and for the Parks Commission. My suspicion is that they would probably want us to move to this hybrid model. So that's the mode that I would support.
Well, I think if the staff is willing to do the extra work that's required to have the hybrid model, then the commission members who aren't comfortable with being there can participate, and the public can participate as they see fit. So subject to changes in whatever is happening,
COVID protocol.
just go ahead and do the hybrid model, and for at least the April meeting.
Yeah, why don't we make that like a pilot? We'll see how it goes with the hybrid, and the city can report back to us and let us know if it was a huge inconvenience for them and to set it up, and then we can reassess.
I like that idea. I mean, our good news right now is at least caseloads are dropping fairly dramatically here in the last couple of weeks.
Any further discussion? So I'll restate my motion, which was to go ahead and make our next commission meeting a hybrid meeting, both in person at the city and online accessibility as well. And that was moved and seconded. So all in favor of that proposal, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, motion carries. We'll do a hybrid in April. And we'll move on in the agenda to item 9, our ad hoc committee reports, beginning with item 9A, Policy Steps Committee.
The Policy Steps Committee remains on hiatus.
Outstanding. Item 9B, Archaeology Committee.
Nothing new to report. I would love to see any photos you're willing to share from the inadvertent discovery, though.
I don't have any yet. I don't even have the artifacts yet.
Okay, well, when you do, that would be awesome.
Okay.
I think that's it. Are we still waiting on a revised report?
That is the revised report.
The one that's attached?
Yeah. So
Okay.
if you would like, I would like changes from everyone who has them by the end of March, please.
Okay. And I will open that up and look at that. Sorry, I missed that that was the revised version.
And Aaron, do you want us to send you those to you? Or is
Yeah,
it-
just send them to me by email, or if you need to, you can call me on the phone, but we don't need to dig into it here.
Okay. Sounds good. It's not, they didn't do like a track change document or something like that.
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. I'll just do
And,
a compare. If you want, committee, I can do a compare doc with the previous. I don't have a version with all the comments compiled, I don't think, but if I did, I could do a compare doc, or
I do.
y'all do it on your own. Whatever your preference is.
I got
Okay.
nothing. I got
Got
nothing.
nothing. Okay.
Sorry. Don't go to too much trouble. I don't know about the rest of you, but I would defer to your expertise, Sarah and David, in these matters. So I would absolutely, take to heart whatever you recommend.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure if you had an opportunity to look, but with your knowledge of Medicine Creek Treaty, and there was some real pieces missing that if you have a little bit of time, just maybe looking at that component, that'd be great. And
Okay.
how that was characterized. I did highlight it for comments, but
Thank you.
yeah, no problem.
And
Okay.
I assume that Aaron's gone over the revised report and is satisfied with the.
I haven't had a chance to do it myself either, which is why I gave us all a deadline.
Sounds good.
I figure if you guys give me changes, I'm gonna have to look at it, right? Yes.
Okay, I'll make sure to take a look at it sometime this month then.
Thank you.
Great. Yeah. So Aaron, maybe if you don't mind, if you could just email to the committee the version that has everyone's compiled comments in it,
Okay.
that might save people time to target their review.
Yeah, I can do that.
Thank you so much. That's it.
And one last question on that: what would be the goal or the end result that we're driving for with these kinds of edits? Is this to tell Cardno that they need to do a better job? Is this to tell the city that we don't want to accept a report
It's
that is
actually not really
inaccurate?
either of those. It's
Okay.
more like this is a report that's going to be used in perpetuity to refer back to.
Okay.
And given that there are not any others for this area, we think it's really important to get it right so that moving forward, people who use that as a reference are using correct information.
Excellent. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. There is just very little available, nothing recent. So this is our opportunity to make sure that we have a good reference document and doesn't get repeated incorrectly.
Good. Awesome. I like that. It's a good goal. Any more discussion on Archaeology Committee? Okay, we'll move on to public comment. That brings us to everyone's favorite addition to the meeting, Lacey Historical Society. And Lanny,
Oh, thank you, Eric. As you're one member of the public. I got a good laugh out of that. Oh, yeah. Okay. So we are actually meeting in person. The board is on Saturday. Yeah. So that'll be fun. Unfortunately, we have an awful lot to discuss. It may be a very long meeting, but anyway, we'll try it. I do have a question though. Are you going to be doing the history talks as hybrid?
It would help if I found my unmute button. We are not. We are going to continue to do them virtual for the rest of the year.
Oh, okay. The reason I asked that is I had a member who wanted to attend Mary's talk on the lavender farm. Mm-hmm. And she couldn't work her computer, so she couldn't do it.
Well, it'll be on YouTube.
I told her that. But again, chances are she won't be able to find it. I mean, if you can't work a computer to look at it, then you're not going to be able to find it online. That was just the question. If I get that question to me, then I can answer.
Yeah, I just, I don't know. It seems like we've gone backwards so many times. I'm not comfortable going hybrid yet.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's hard to know what to do. I mean, this has been a very long 2 years with masks or no masks, and how are you vaccinated?
And I feel like the going back and forth is really confusing to people. So I'd rather just stick with one way.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's good. So that's it, really. Oh, we'll have a draft of our next newsletter, so that should be coming to you pretty soon.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Lanny.
Oh, you're welcome.
We'll move on to item 10B, public comment from anybody else.
There is no one else.
There is no one else. All right, then we'll move on to our reports, beginning with item 11A, our museum curator report.
Yeah, since we didn't have a meeting last month, I included both January and February's report in your packet. Just a couple things to highlight. Speaking of those History Talk presentations, the Thelma Jackson presentation had 78 participants, and Mary Schaaf's presentation, we had 57. So good showings for both, and I do highly recommend viewing them on YouTube. Mary Schaaf's presentation, particularly with its, really very local content on the lavender farm in Lacey, was really good. She did a great job of weaving that narrative. I was very impressed.
Great.
The Jackson Goose Pond historical marker is coming along. My intern from the Diversity and Local History is excellent. He has conducted an immense amount of research that we never would have been able to do without the grant funding. So that's going along swimmingly. And speaking of grants, I just got word that we were awarded our Thurston County Heritage Grant for this year, although this is really late. They have never awarded it this late in the year. So that's good. And I think that's about all I had highlighted. If anybody has anything they'd like to ask me about, I'd be glad to answer questions.
I have a question. Is the Thurston County Heritage Grant issued by the county? I know that
Yes.
sounds redundant, but
Yeah, it comes
some
from
of these things
records
are
fees.
a nonprofit. So. Records fees. Okay.
Yeah, the state passed a law, I want to say like maybe 10 years ago, where counties, I think it's counties, could decide within certain parameters what they wanted to do with that money. And a bunch of the counties have created grant programs, including Thurston County.
Do you have a list of those counties that have those heritage programs or heritage grant programs?
I don't.
Okay, I was just curious.
Is it within your scope, your intern's scope, to maybe come to one of our commission meetings and share some of the research that he's done?
Yeah, he actually, we are hoping at the next meeting that we will have a draft of the marker for you to look at, and he will be attending the meeting, hopefully. Yeah.
What's the best way to access those YouTube videos of the talks?
If you go to the City of Lacey's YouTube page, there is a Lacey Museum playlist, and it's in there.
And that's through the city's website?
No, it's through YouTube.
Okay.
Do you want me to pull it up for you?
Nah, that's all right. I can find it.
Okay.
Thanks.
There is a link, though, now that I think about it, from laceymuseum.org. There is a link to them. Let me look at which page it's on. I'm just so ready to have a new website.
Be careful what you wish for. We just got a new website and it's a nightmare.
Well, I'm helping plan it. It's way better than this. Trust me. From the events page in the museum section, there's a link to the playlist.
Thank you.
Our new website will have them embedded.
Anything else to report? Aaron?
Nope.
Very good. We'll move on to the commissioner reports, and we'll just go around my screen, beginning with Commissioner Black.
I have nothing to report.
Commissioner Getz.
I also have nothing to report.
Commissioner Keough.
Haven't heard anything from the Thurston County Historic Commission for the last month. It's been kind of quiet on that front. That's about the only thing to note. I last talked to them in late February.
Okay. Commissioner 30 Acre.
Just some information to share. I think I mentioned this before COVID, whenever that was, that couple friends who are researchers and playwrights have a show, and it's been picked up by the Olympia Little Theater. So this is the Women's Auxiliary Squadron, the female World War II pilots. And so that play will be running in April at the Olympia Little Theater. For those folks who are interested in seeing a show, the theater has been very cautious with their approach, and so I think that'll be really exciting, a whole new cast of characters. And so if you just go on the Olympia Little Theater website, and it's called The Originals, you can find more information about it. I encourage everyone to go.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Miller?
Yesterday we had our first in-person meeting again, and it felt like we were pretty productive. What we did was we also had a joint work session with the Commission on Equity where they did, what's it called, a focus group. And I was just wondering if anybody would be interested in like coming to one of our youth council meetings and getting feedback or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd definitely be interested. And I'd love to hear the report out on a short report out on the joint work session. It sounds like I listened to the Equity Commission at the work session, and they're doing some really exciting work. So I'd love to hear from your perspective, Nathan, about that joint work session at some point.
Now or? Okay.
Sure. I mean, maybe just like a brief takeaway of some like key points that kind of stood out to you.
Yeah. Most people talked about schools because that's like their biggest involvement in the community, and that was the main focus of it.
Great. Yeah. Well, I, for one, would definitely welcome any kind of joint work session. I think it would be really interesting to, for this group to think about how we can bridge that gap between history and youth. And so I definitely support that.
All right. Thank you very much, Commissioner Miller and Commissioner 30acre. We'll move on to, that's nice. Move on to item 11C, chair report. Two things I just wanted to mention. Number one, if I didn't mention it last week or last month, my book on maritime heritage in Washington has been pushed out, the publication date, until April of next year of 2023. And the reason for that is to coincide with the public launch of the Maritime Heritage Area, the National Maritime Heritage Area in Washington State. When the project began, we were under the assumption that the public launch would occur at the same time they submit the final plan to Congress. But we've learned since that the Washington Trust for Historic Preservation will be submitting that plan, but they don't expect Congress to actually act on it until either very, very late this year or sometime early next year. So we made the editorial decision to push that out. And I'll be honest, it's much less of a rush for me now, so that's fantastic. I can spend more time really vetting the stories that I'm telling in the book, so developing those partnerships. So that's exciting news. And then the other thing is that I got contacted by Jameson Murphy with the State Archives, and he is interested in finding out who wants to start up the Thurston Throwback at the county fair activities again this year. there is some email traffic going back and forth about whether or not we are going to even have a fair in person this year. But assuming that there will be one, he wanted to get the ball rolling and talk about a theme and who's going to participate and all that good stuff. So I already told him that I'm on board to help out and that I would represent this commission on that group. Aaron is going to be representing the museum on that group, but I highly
I
recommend.
actually think I might delegate that to Carson.
Okay, very good. And then I will, of course, be hoping that any of you who wish to participate as volunteers would step up and do so as well. It's a really fun event. We got to hold one time, and then COVID shut it all down. So we're looking forward to having it again. It's essentially just a single day from opening to close, where we man a booth at the county fair and teach people about local history. So it's pretty exciting, and you get to network with a lot of other heritage folks from around Thurston County, Tenino and Gate, and some other historical places in Thurston County. So anyway, just wanted to bring you up to speed on that. That's all I have. So we will now move to item 11D, Parks, Culture, and Recreation Director Report.
Seeing how she is not here, she has nothing to report.
Outstanding. Well, then we need a motion if we want to move on to item number 12.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to move on to item number 12, which is adjournment. Any discussion?
I just want to say that apparently my influence is finally having an effect, and we are adjourning before 7 p.m. So
Yeah. I could.
You didn't jinx it. I'm amazed.
I could jabberjaw for 3 more minutes if you'd like. I mean,
How many seconds have we got?
do you want to know about the pig war? I could go on about the pig war for hours if you wanted.
that would not be on the agenda. We have a motion before us.
Very good, very good. All right. Well, seeing as there is no more discussion, all in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned. Nice to see you all again.
Yes.
Hey.
See you hopefully in person or not next time.